Black good leopard is a force mixed with the folk, so it's difficult to grasp the real and fake strengths and weaknesses. Killed people, so it seems that in the near future, there will be some things that won't go according to my wishes. After that, all the people with a voice in the black newspaper showed up in just a minute. Because they didn't want to waste time, so the male lead will appoint a new gang leader, but all authority here must be under his authority. After everyone heard this, everyone's faces turned stupid. Lee JaHa looked back. Dok Go sighed and named him as the next leader. And without waiting for anyone's opinion, he gave the mission. The first thing you need to do as the main way for the gang leader is to mobilize all forces to destroy the city wall. Starting from the city wall, why do we have to do that? Then Lee JaHa continued to show his face as if he was about to be devoured. Live them. In unison, the other leaders had to agree without knowing the reason. You may think that wall protects safety, but it has no effect. With all the gangsters. That shows that no matter how strong your evil leopards are, it is difficult to preserve their lives. Everyone remained silent to continue listening to the male protagonist speak the truth. The fact that you people live too closed and refuse to interact with the outside world is a big disadvantage. That's why we had to do this to change, do you understand? Like looking at those stupid faces, I'm sure no one understands this. I feel so bored that Lee JaHa doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Anyway, let's start with destroying the city wall first. Have a lot of contact with the outside, come on. The bigger the outside, the better the inside will be. And there's one more important thing that the male lead keeps repeating. Next time when I come to you, if you are still involved in slave trading and loan sharking, don't blame me for being cruel. So I will finish off the leader, Dok Go first. Those who are present or involved, if you mess around with something, everyone must die. If you go down to the golden stream, please send my regards to the bad guys. Please let me know in advance. The space begins to quiet down again with an atmosphere heavy like the smell of morning. A leader has proactively spoken up. Can you tell us more specifically about the method? I've said it this far, but do I need to say it again? Have you been thinking about where to go all this time and don't understand? Lee JaHa became angry because the newly recruited subordinates did not pay attention to his story. He threatened that if he couldn't do it, let someone else do it instead of sitting here so crowded. How on earth can an organization develop like this? Everyone, please listen carefully in the future so you can understand the details and then get to work. Everyone was silent, but the male lead had to shout loudly, and then everyone said yes. Give it your all. Next comes the matter of changing the name of the sect. Especially don't put another word in it to reveal the name of the black gang, it's not good at all. Continuing, another comrade brought it up again. Opinion on this issue. His face looks a bit bright, so he plans to use the word white instead of the word black. The more I say it, it seems like this is not what Lee JaHa meant at all. When asked if he belonged to the white path, he immediately denied it. Even though you know that, why do you still ask questions? As if this is a white path, naming the power should be a bit more reasonable, right? Until the meeting ends, don't ask me any more questions. After listening, this young man became sad and embarrassed with everyone. The main problem continued to ignore this family name issue, and he requested that all the regulations of the sect be reduced from 300 articles to 3 articles. Some people who heard this story also seemed surprised because it was so unexpected. Although anyway, let's start with 3 things. If there's anything that's too necessary, let's gather and solve it together. Remember to eliminate the travel fee and release those who have been captured. Burn them all documents related to that, then open the warehouse of the former gang leader. Remember not to let anyone take them. Use those things to help those in need in the future. You should use a little more to build decent houses and hire outsiders to do the work. As expected of these things, Lee JaHa wants the best for his subordinates, not exploitation. But after asking again and again, no one understood what he meant. What is your atmosphere like this? Please explain to me. This is the sentence that Captain Dok Go used to say, that although it's not the same, it's similar. When it came to this, everyone discussed it more enthusiastically and everyone agreed with that opinion. So the male lead immediately quickly looked towards his subordinate. He didn't bother to respond at all. It seemed like he didn't consider the boss anything in his eyes. Then the two immediately exchanged glances and tried to understand each other better. Lee JaHa didn't want to say much but just asked his juniors to do their best. Dok Gosang didn't bother to respond any further, he just agreed. Then he asked to others prepared new outfits because the old one was stained with too much enemy blood. It wasn't until the third hour of the night that the male protagonist returned to the Black Cat Union. The subordinates outside were waiting. Not knowing what was going on, he ran out to stop him because he thought he was an outsider. So he had to make a sound to let them know that the gang leader had returned. Sure enough, when he heard this name, he kept watch. I was scared out of my wits at the other door, thinking I had encountered a ghost. After regaining my composure, I quickly bowed respectfully before being beaten. Why was it so quiet? I was out for so long that I didn't. Who is willing to practice? General Butler hurriedly ran outside to pick him up, but he didn't bother with the details and just asked why he wasn't practicing. He also quickly explained that Gold Boar had come here. Hearing the name, Lee JaHa probably recognizes many things. Because he knew that Gold Boar was one of Slaughterer's 12 generals. So he had to quickly run inside. To meet. According to General Butler's book, Gold Boar is an extremely voracious person. His strength is roughly ranked 7th and 8th. He was accepted by Slaughterer as a disciple because physical strength and innate potential strength. This person does not come from a merchant company, so it can be said that he is a very good financial source for old Slaughterer. Did not see his face when Lee JaHa walked entering the hall. I heard the sounds of eating and drinking a lot. Sure enough, his appearance looked no different from a pig. His mind was always so busy eating that he even took off his mask. Name. At this point, the male lead had to raise his voice loudly to let him know that he had appeared. But it seemed like Gold Boar didn't pay any attention to him. Didn't bother to introduce himself at all. But still focused on eating and drinking. Then I mistook Lee JaHa for a servant, so I planned to assign some tasks. Quickly bring me some wine to drink. Hearing the wrong sentence like this, the male lead just wanted to rip off his hair for fun. Seeing that the cat owner was still silent, the fat guy had to raise his voice. You guys do something. I told you to bring the wine back here. Well, it seems like his position is higher, so the male lead has to wait for him once. He proactively arranged the wine bottle right at his place to bring it to him. For him. As soon as I poured it, I guessed a lot of things. Seeing this scene without showing any signs, it seems that this Gold Boar is not afraid of my clan. I have never seen you before. Where has your gang leader gone? The gang leader is right in front of you, but that idiot still doesn't know anything. Hearing the question was too redundant, Lee JaHa made a sullen face and planned to leave. Right away. Hey useless guy, if this wasn't the Black Cat Union, you would have become a dumpling. After that, the General Butler had to fully prepare the male lead's clothes to look like a gang owner. Gold Boar ate and drank his fill and also belched a very itchy sound. Hearing the solemn footsteps entering, he also became more attentive. Seeing the gang leader leave, Gold Boar immediately changed his voice. Brother Cat, it's been a long time since I last saw you. Right. As expected, you had to do it like this for him to obediently obey. The male lead also proactively replied that what's the matter with you coming here, you pig? He seemed difficult. I can't stand being compared to a pig. It seems like Lee JaHa called me the wrong way because the previous gangmaster didn't often say that. This time I came here and found a trading company. Selling elixirs, plus the White Rooster brother will arrive in a few days, so I intend to sell them to the Black Cat Union at a discounted price. Asking about the item in more detail, the fat guy also said yes. Can you buy 400-year-old Bach VM thou? The male lead continued to ask about the price. He immediately changed his attitude and put his mask back on. Since we are longtime business friends, the price is it will be 50 taels of gold for 10 boxes of top-quality white inflammation herbs. After listening, the male protagonist asked Gold Boar to bring the goods out for inspection. Before leaving, he also mentioned that if he refused, he would definitely sell them. This delicious product is for White Rooster. I feel like these generals only call each other brothers. They don't have any kind of brotherly relationship. Now I'm alone in this room, so I feel that the price is too expensive. Even 50 taels of gold is quite high, but after all, it is an easy-to-use elixir for me. Now, if I erase it, I won't mention my assets. Ilyong Town and the guild. I guess the only way is to rob. Maybe you're really hesitating about whether or not you should take out some money to spend on personal things. Well, it's okay. I don't have to think too much to get a headache. It's okay for me to feel pure and comfortable inside. A few moments later, the two sides went to another room to transact for the appointment. More importantly, you see, it's been very difficult to find these elixirs these days because it's not easy to preserve them. If possible, please use them quickly. No need for a fat guy to tell you how to do it. The main male user immediately opened it and checked. Then he stuffed it straight into his mouth and ate it without asking permission. Looking at you with such confidence, it seems like you've already eaten white inflammation grass. This sentence is very accurate because Lee JaHa ate a lot in his previous life, but those herbs were only about 100 years old. As soon as he chewed them in his mouth, he also commented in his heart that this is definitely the best quality. Then he spoke up and asked the general butler to come over and take a look. Maybe this was the first time he was assigned this job, so old Byuk was a bit surprised. He knows how to look at herbs. Why, it doesn't look very reputable. Are you looking down on my general butler? This person was once a strong man for 30 years before joining the gangsters. He is my legendary elixir expert. Having said that, the male lead also boasted that he was the master of magic. My subordinate is a herbal medicine genius who is well versed in everything in the world. Because it's too long, I've concluded with one sentence. This person is the master of spiritual medicine. Hearing those words makes me wonder. His body doesn't look right either. Within 100 miles, do you believe he can smell the elixir? You must know that this is a wanderer who is an expert in distinguishing spiritual medicines. And that is none other than my Byuk general butler. Byuk general butler now felt very embarrassed, just wanted to find a hole to crawl into to make it less embarrassing. Gold Boar didn't have much information about this place, so he just let it go. Then the general butler had to personally open the box and take a close look at it. As soon as you open the lid, a sweet scent emanates outside. As expected, the teacher in the matter of elixirs has many rather unusual ways of checking the goods. He kept fanning himself with his hand so that the smell entered his nose like he was fanning tea. Not only that, but he also looked in all directions and examined each root one by one. After a while, he brought it up. Some comments I don't know if they are accurate. First of all 3 boxes have a fragrant scent, but when you look closely, the joint of the fork has been separated in a subtle way. This proves that it looked like someone had intentionally bitten it. After hearing these words, the fat guy jumped out of his skin. What do you mean I did? You just need to judge whether it is real or not, that's enough. The price of 50 taels of gold is too cheap compared to the market. Byuk, he started apologizing for saying too much. Then he confirmed that this was the real thing, and even in southern muck it was very difficult to find this. Most importantly, because of the difficulty of transportation, we only needed 5 to 6 trees. That's nearly 100 taels of gold. Hearing the price determination, Gold Boar started to turn around and praised the general butler of Black Cat Union as a person with profound knowledge. After checking Lee JaHa, the male lead asked the other person to check the money and count it again. Is that enough? The box opened and inside were all gold bars, shining brightly to the eyes. The fat guy started scrolling through a few times and also mumbled in his head, calculating that this was probably enough. Then he had his servants carry it onto the carriage to put it away. Turning around to joke more, he saw Lee JaHa taking advantage of the food as if he was afraid someone else would steal it. You eat it too, no matter how urgent it is. You have to be lucky enough to regulate your breath before using it. Perhaps he didn't know that when he ate the devil's heavenly pearl, his body was able to adjust itself without having to do anything. I'm the only person in the world who can practice internal martial arts this way. Before leaving, Gold Boar also reminded the general butler to worry about the gang leader because the male lead alone had eaten it all. There's a lot of rare herbs, so it's easy to overeat. Black Cat's senior brother, next time I have something delicious, I'll bring it to you. After saying that, he leisurely left looking very happy. It seems that because he has earned money, he is fine, it's not like he should immediately calm down. The male lead didn't need to do that. He asked about the whereabouts of the other members in the gang. General Butler quickly checked the situation and then gave a very specific report. There were people waiting everywhere on his path. As expected, Lee JaHa was showing off a treacherous side, like when he planned to steal back all the gold money to buy Gold Boar's goods. He also had to repeat it over and over to keep the general butler in mind. This is not a normal plan. The important thing is to get the money back. You must use everything you have with all your heart, even if you have to sacrifice your life to complete it. After saying that, he also left and calculated. There are many other things in mind. Just wait there for me, brother, I'll go right now to meet you. Hearing the mumbling words of the gang leader, General Butler also has a lot of things to say. Curious. He had to muster the courage to ask him a few questions. Why do you want to fight the divine General Gold Boar? Lee JaHa explained that there were so many reasons for this to happen. The first and biggest thing was that he took my money away. And he even dared to speak rudely and told me to take it away. Is there alcohol to serve? Speaking of not paying for meals, the general butler said that fat guy always asks for delicious seafood dishes. And yet, he still dares to speak up to the senior brother. To me, in general, there are many reasons to hit that idiot on the head. Now maybe the general butler no longer has a grudge against this new gang boss. His eyes look very idolize and admire the male lead's way of working at work. At the same time, Gold Boar was driving very fast to return home. Inside he was also talking to another guy. Really, it's hard work for the day when everything happens as you wish. Selling 3 pepper roots to that black cat is great. If we sell 4 to White Rooster, we can relax. Food and drink, and that black cat will never know why he was defeated. Then suddenly the carriage that was rushing at lightning speed suddenly had to stop. Gold Boar and the people inside were still panicking because they didn't understand what had happened. The wheel had now hit the trap that the male lead's men had set up. So it deviated a little more. I just fell into the abyss. The general inside raised his head angrily, pointing out that the driver was a bunch of losers. And the guy wearing the hat was also curious and opened the door to see exactly what was going on. The servant hastily reported that there was a horse-drawn carriage changing its wheels, blocking the road ahead. Gold Boar was angry and ordered his junior to go there and slap the carriage owner's hand. Because the car broke down in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, both sides were arguing loudly. Seeing the other guy step out, the car owner also explained that he didn't want to block the road like this. Before he could finish his sentence, he was slapped until his teeth and lips were mixed up. Not only that, but the people who were following him were all in peace without a single slip-up. You bastards, how dare you? Blocking our young master's path? Where did the male lead fly from above and he landed ready to give him a kick? As expected, with this kick, there is a high possibility that the guy in the hat will be paralyzed for the rest of his life. Not only will his back buckle, but he will also fly away and hit several big tree roots. Look at that old body. But you're acting like a scoundrel. I don't know who you are, but you dare to attack the ordinary charioteers of JaHa clan. Woe to the countless juniors of the Black Cat Union for listening to the words of Master State. Gold Boar also got out of the car at this time and recognized the male protagonist as the face he met in the dining room. What are you doing? You don't need to care about what this lowly person is doing. Don't think that as a subordinate of my senior brother, you will ignore it. But no matter what he says, his state of mind of Lee JaHa still didn't move at all. What is this? Why does that servant's attitude look so strange? In the end, the fat guy mumbled and explained the story in detail. So it turns out that you guys deliberately pulled this trick. I am a disciple of Slaughterer and a member of the Golden Mountain Merchant Group. If you are the subordinates of senior brother Black Cat, then it is all right. Everyone from above and below must bear the wrath of their master. Our trade group will hunt down and find out who you received money from to dare to do these things. Just showing off your big connections. Then he pointed straight at the male lead. Looks like you're not a servant anyway, so it's not worth me spending money to investigate. It's not anyone's business to investigate or not. After answering, Lee JaHa also took the initiative to move closer. Hearing those harsh words, this fat guy became angry. He lowered his center of gravity and quickly began to channel his energy. In just a blink of an eye, both of them used their strength to attack each other. Very quickly, violent shaking sounds rang out again. As expected, Gold Boar's power was somewhat overwhelming. A little bit. Because he has been naturally gifted with health since childhood. Just like that, the two continuously put all their strength into the palm of their hands to beat the opponent. While fighting without saying anything, it's a bit sad, so Gold Boar continues to joke. Lately, I've spent countless amounts of elixirs with the company's money. You're planning to use this medicine to fight hand to hand with me? The fat guy is very confident because all the disciples of the 10 great generals do not have the same internal strength as him. While laughing happily, he also realized something incomprehensible. Mind Dharma, his crystal absorption method, seems to be trying to absorb his internal energy. The male lead has realized that this is the main use of the heavenly pearl that was stolen from the Demon Sect. Abundant streams of internal energy of Gold Boar are now running one after another into his body. Seeing the very confident expression of his opponent, Slaughterer's God General became worried. What is this and why is it internal? Is my work escaping? To avoid losing more strength, he used a great deal of force to stop. But it seems that now Lee JaHa's inner strength is trying to absorb more. The mask that symbolized his class is now broken. Gold Boar is impatient because he can't stop, can't fight, and has no way to resist. The male protagonist himself can't think that his mental magic is so strong that it can absorb the opponent's internal energy. Fuang always. The fat guy continues to use restraint and just wants to get out of this tragedy. If he suddenly stops, he will definitely be injured internally because his power is entering his body. However, if he didn't stop in time, his life would have ended, although in this situation, when I said I would deal with the 12 generals, Gold Boar's death wouldn't have been the same. What's so serious? But I don't want this guy's soul or energy to cling to Thien Chao at all. If I did that, I would be no different from the devils. Where is it? With those few headache-inducing thoughts, he finally chose the most suitable option. In the end, he was able to stop the crystal absorption method in the blink of an eye. Luckily for Gold Boar is still able to keep his life. The internal martial arts competition has ended and the giant body of that fat guy was knocked far away. Thien Chao's aura is still trying to revive him. A little more internal force from his opponent. Lee JaHa had to regulate the internal energy inside his body so that they were in harmony with each other. From the palm of his hand Thien Chao appeared with an extremely magical light. Taking a closer look, it seems like Gold Boar's internal strength is impervious to anything. Just like that, the male protagonist very calmly temporarily interrupted his strength to prepare to preach morality. His opponent was still. He couldn't sit in one place because he seemed so strange because he had never seen this before. In his unfortunate appearance, he was so lucky that he didn't lose weight. Lee JaHa was just planning on stealing money but he was lucky enough to grab it. Including internal work. In the end, what did you do to me? Gold Boar spoke up in fear. Lee JaHa was not in a hurry to answer, but he paid close attention to his opponent. I forgave you because of my big heart. After listening, he acting confused, not knowing what the other person is talking about. What kind of nonsense situation is this? There is no one in this world as generous as me. Forget it for now, Lee JaHa will come back to remind everyone. I checked the carriage to see if there were any good things to take away. Gold Boar quickly rushed to stop him and pointed at the carriage. That was an object that needed to be handed over to the White Rooster God General, his family. Can you bear the responsibility? Hearing that the general's things must be good, the male lead let him strip them all. He leisurely observed his subordinates doing it and did not forget to urge him because it was already late. Then a chest containing medicine appeared. The 500-year-old grass caught his attention. Gold Boar realized it, so he spoke up and said he was not allowed to touch it. There's nothing that you guys should quickly bring here to me. Seeing the delicious treasure before his eyes, Lee JaHa ordered his subordinates to pick the lock and open it. Inside were still the herbs that he had just sold to him. What kind of business was so fun that it was in my place and now he brought it to White Rooster? Are not? Are you planning on controlling all 12 divine generals? Will you destroy the Black Cat Union? Gold Boar replied, do you have any evidence to say such a thing? Immediately after, the male protagonist was so angry that he quickly walked towards the fat guy with a vicious mood. He slapped him several times for that. The crime of arguing with each other. If the Black Cat Union finds out about this, I wonder if they will mobilize forces to attack the Golden Mountain Merchant Group. Just wait, my master won't sit still and watch this. Probably not, because Slaughterer wouldn't be able to get involved. Then he turned his gaze towards the subordinate pretended to be a passerby. When the juniors saw it, they immediately understood what the master meant. If you divide half of the Golden Mountain Merchant Group's assets, I would sit still. The group was crowded, burst out laughing because delicious food suddenly fell from the sky. Next, the male lead also acted with his subordinates to get into character. 1 is to tell the Black Cat Union. 2 is to tell Slaughterer what you want to do more. Anything is fine with us as long as we get a lot of money. One person spoke up, what would happen if the announcement was made to both sides? There's nothing fun about it, what a bunch of idiots. Looking at his subordinates was so boring that the male lead turned to talk to Gold Boar. Now it's time for you to choose, right? What is yours like? The fat guy still doesn't know what to choose because whichever he chooses, he will die. Lee JaHa continuously uses urging actions to make him confused. Because he can't control himself. So I responded in a rough way. If you had any grudges against me, you would have killed me a long time ago, so say what you want. Is it because you want money, right? During the second scene, Red Monkey's voice came from somewhere. Maybe right now she is still having stomach pain and diarrhea to the point of dying of dehydration. Seeing his teammates, Abio made an incomprehensible face. Red Monkey, why are you here? Were you also brought here, Gold Boar? Taking the opportunity to say a few words to ask questions, Red Monkey also brought out the mask representing Slaughterer's God General. Although it was a bit surprising, I finished it and he has been reborn in another life. Looking at the item in his hand, Lee JaHa seemed very satisfied. If that's the case, please give this monk some antidote. Look at the way the two of them address each other. Gold Boar becomes surprised. Sometimes the bathroom is urgent so he can't fight properly, and there's also diarrhea. Diarrhea? Why are they talking about such nonsense? Is this it? Master Red Monkey has worked hard, of course I will keep my promise to you. Gold Boar started talking loudly again to attract attention, who are you? But looks like the male lead still doesn't want to reveal his true identity. Red Monkey quickly ran over and gave the fat guy a few shots to wake him up. Not just a few shots, but consecutive slaps. The pain in his hand made Gold Boar scream loudly. No one dared to jump in to stop the onlookers around. After the fight, she started to explain. You talk, with your senior brother, with such an attitude? What are you talking about, brother, whose brother? Another thing that makes the male lead happy and he will definitely give some more antidote to Red Monkey. You guys put those boxes on the car and let the injured people over there go. Just let it go. And this fat guy, call your horse here because the three of us need to go somewhere. As he said that, he also signaled Red Monkey to do his job. Don't you dare let's waste more of my brother's time. On Gold Boar's face, he seemed very unwilling at all. So Red Monkey continued to come in and give him another shot to see if there were any patterns in his brain. Why did you hit me again this time? Lee JaHa continued to touch the headman, don't be so hasty. After listening, Red Monkey also tried to correct his rude attitude. The male lead held the knife. The mask was in his hand and he experimented for a while. Then he immediately put it on his face. This made Gold Boar scared and somewhat confused. So Lee JaHa has a plan to disguise himself as Green Dog. Not sure what he plans to do with that fat guy. Red Monkey continues to use bullet-shaped eyes to look in Gold's direction. Boar. In the end, he understood and respectfully bowed to senior brother Green Dog. So everything was fine, so the male protagonist did not need to use his fists anymore. Himself Gold Boar still doesn't understand what the hell this situation is. After that, the three of them continued to ride in a carriage to go somewhere. Who is this guy? Why is his martial arts so strong? Although it is very difficult to understand, Gold Boar has something more difficult to understand. Why is this Red Monkey, even when he met his master, he only said a few words but now he can be so obsequious? At this point, Lee JaHa spoke up to call him by name. He began to raise his voice to say meaningful sentences, wondering if he understood. Try to think of something to do to make him suffer. If you're stupid, no matter how long you think about it, there will be no results. I understand, I will never think about this again. Red Monkey considered giving him a few more shots but stopped because he was afraid he would die in the middle of it. The road was lost. A moment later, the male lead arrived at Moying Clinic. Quickly, Gold Boar was brought inside by the servants. Mo Ying-baek quickly ran out to check on the situation for him. "You guys, please quickly take the young man inside." Nam Chin continuously observed the movements of the evil demon Mo Ying-baek. I don't understand what he was thinking and what he wanted to do to him. It's very possible that this is someone closely related to Lee JaHa from his previous life. Then the thoughts from the past reappeared. It turned out that Mo Ying-baek was the person who saved him from going into a ghost. Due to the dispute with Slaughterer, the content of the white paper fell into ruin. And since then, he has gone from being a medical doctor specializing in saving people to harboring a deep and extremely terrifying hatred. Not only a little later, he became a poison demon. The poison demon has a very deep knowledge of prediction in the human body, so that helped him research poisons, and this person was also willing to experiment on his entire body. After killing Slaughterer, he would not let go of Slaughterer's disciples. Over time, he hunted down those 12 people and killed them all. When we met again was when Slaughterer was dead. The demon not only hated strongmen but he also hated humans. It was so serious that he swore he would never save anyone again. Although he helped many patients through hardship, when he needed it, no one came to help. Even Slaughterer and his subordinates were once patients he treated. So that's why he increasingly hates humans and his people seek strength. What I feel grateful for is that he gave up his vow to break the rules for a long time. Anything else is the matter of saving ourselves from going crazy. Someone like him who has gradually become crazy probably already understood that he was a crazy person from the beginning. This can be said to be a common illness. Only crazy people can understand each other's connection, but he didn't expect that he also had such a normal childhood. Putting aside the past stories, the male lead turned to talk to Red Monkey. He asked her to go inside for treatment along with Gold Boar. During this time, Mo Ying-baek also took the initiative to run over to say hello. This is the first time meeting the general. I don't know if he feels uncomfortable. Seeing his benefactor from the past, the male lead did not hesitate and smiled strangely. It seemed like he was not surprised at all. He tried to observe the mirror carefully. Mo Ying-baek's face was better. Then they both looked at each other and each had their own thoughts. I wonder what this genius doctor is planning in his mind. This is the first time in my life. He and I met, so there's no way he could recognize me. I'm Lee JaHa from Ilyong Town and the head of a small organization called JaHa Clan. If so, don't you? Is it one of the 12 divine generals? Our JaHa Clan is currently at war with the Slaughterer. The original owner of this mask was killed by Red Monkey. So, if that's the case, have you seen this, Master? Anywhere uncomfortable? I just came here to pay for a few things, so there's nothing unpleasant, and I'm also a bit curious about the medical level of this place. Understanding Lee JaHa's meaning, Mo Ying-baek calculated the introduction. Introducing himself more specifically. He took off his glasses and solemnly introduced himself as the owner here. Lee JaHa also proactively nodded in response to the other person's politeness. Please come here with me to see a few things. When he opened the box containing rare herbs, he became very surprised. Just looking at his expression, the male lead could understand Mo Ying-baek knows what it is. When looking at the thickness of the roots or the number of branches, you can immediately guess that it is 100-year-old white grass. Seeing that the male protagonist asserts that the age must be up to 400 years, then he dismissed it. This is very expensive. It is found in high and dangerous mountainous areas and is transported to the central plains. So Bok Viet herbs with high age are very rare. After listening, he was surprised. I realized that the fat guy Gold Boar had lied and was still boasting that he was hundreds of years old. Putting that aside for now, he also said that he had eaten a few plants. As you also know, Bok Viam Thou has the effect of increasing positive energy, so when using it, you have to be careful to avoid getting sick. I'm not a person who gets angry often, so it's okay. Mo Ying-baek constantly reminds me that as long as I get angry, it's okay. It would be easy to get sick. When he heard the male lead's answer that he had found a way to solve the problem, the doctor became very curious. With a profession like mine, he would never reveal anything. It's a patient's secret, so feel free to say it out loud. Not long ago, my house burned down. As a result, that incident made my anger boil. If that's the case, then it must be very serious, right? Of course, that's why I killed the person who burned my house. And as soon as the act was finished, I felt very at peace. It turned out that the people I killed were servants who built a gang under the orders of the Black Cat Union. So people from all of those factions came to seek revenge. Mo Ying-baek was very curious about the outcome of those guys. He received only one answer from the male lead, which was to kill. And just like that, I felt relieved. Looking at the patient's expression, the doctor seemed a bit hesitant. Lee JaHa continued to tell the story that Slaughterer's group had sent an assassin to kill him. But because of that assassin's determination, so I let him live. After giving him some pig bones, I immediately attacked the Black Cat Union. To be honest, this was extremely exciting for me. It turns out I'm planning on rescuing this damn sect. But I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, I let them ascend to heaven and resolved their anger. Just now. As he spoke, Lee JaHa also patted his chest and made a happy expression. And of course I still felt a very peaceful feeling. The master managed to relieve his anger very well. There, Mo Ying-baek replied. Just looking at his expression, I'm sure it's like that. The thoughts that are coming to the male lead about his past related to Mo Ying-baek begin again. When we meet when he finished dealing with the slaughterer, he had a very blank expression. After killing all his enemies and rekindling his hatred for so long, he didn't know what he should live for. What other reason is there? There are no relatives or friends and there are no enemies that need to be paid anymore. In this life I will help him prevent that bad luck because in his previous life he helped me. In the end I will also become a crazy demon, but he doesn't have to become a poisonous demon. After sipping his tea, Lee JaHa also told himself many things. Just being crazy by myself is more than enough. With this world, Red Monkey's voices can be heard outside. I hope her diarrhea symptoms will stop soon. My body is normal and I myself am fine. Rest assured. Mo Ying-baek returned to the tea room with a satisfied expression. There's nothing to worry about for both of them, so don't worry. The male lead also nodded a few times. Take it as a thank you. The doctor also added that the patient had minor injuries but it seemed like they were very mentally disturbed. Especially Miss Red Monkey, she seemed to not be sleeping. It's been a few days. She even knelt down and begged me to cure that strange disease. Having said that, the two of them didn't know what else to talk about. They both looked at each other again. Like that there's a lot to say. Lee JaHa had to think for a long time and he had to admit. Actually, I tricked the Red Monkey sister and gave her diarrhea medicine. The diarrhea medicine here is the medicine that causes the disease, not the medicine that stops the diarrhea. Then Lee JaHa honestly said he loved her. Request that Red Monkey must kill one of the three generals: Yellow Horse, Green Dog or White Rat. If Red Monkey opposes, I will not compromise and will immediately kill him. Therefore, it is possible said that the diarrhea medicine I gave her was not to kill her but to save her life. Mo Ying-baek really cannot understand this nonsense reason to justify killing innocent people, of the male lead. Did you use diarrhea medicine to save that god general's life? That's right, that's the concept of dire healology. As expected, Mo Ying-baek didn't smile but looked very thoughtful. Diarrhea saves people. I really didn't expect it to be so effective. Feeling a bit shy, Lee JaHa secretly said a few words. Now that everything is over, let's resolve it as promised. I don't want to say anything more because talking too much makes my mouth tired. I'm thinking about it. When he went out, the doctor told him about Gold Boar's condition. His condition was so shocked that his face looked like he had lost money. After listening, Lee JaHa also admitted that he had taken internal medicine and borrowed it. I'll pay you some money for now. I wonder if I can ask you something? You are the great Rakshasa's enemy, so why did you come here to heal his disciple? Sure enough, this question got right to the point. The conversation started and continued. There was a person named Jonhu who walked back and forth and walked up and down. Met he kills everyone and he kills for all the nonsense reasons in the world. Killing people who could have lived and killing people he doesn't even know. Sir, do you know what would happen if kill everyone? Mo Ying-baek was quite curious, so he wanted to continue listening. Lee JaHa immediately let go of the sentence that if that was the case, he would become a demon. The doctor is probably about to get depressed after hearing these nonsense. He always hunts down and kills those who destroy other people's homes. However, if anyone is alive, that person will definitely be missed. Maybe a scheming woman, maybe as a clever assassin, or maybe a man who has had to try to find a way to survive since he was young. That's just how people resist the treatment of black people. Why is this? What is the treatment of black people? There are people who think that life will change and people will be reborn, so they endure and continue to hope. Is this sect master a person of the white path? Probably the knight that everyone talks about. The male lead affirms that he is not from the righteous sect because his character is very poor. Not everyone in the white religion has virtue and morality. Most of them are like that, and their strength is also very excellent. They spread the religion from generation to generation. That is the traditional power. I am not like that. My house will only burn down. I'm a chicken noodle seller. Wandering around looking for a purpose in life in a society full of gossip. That's my reason for living. Mo Ying-baek really didn't expect Lee JaHa to be so unusual. I hope the male lead will soon learn the difference between magic, black magic and white magic. The story temporarily stopped when Lee JaHa opened the remaining box. He told the doctor that this was the cost of treatment. In my previous life, he was my benefactor. Even though he's not in this life, there's no need to regret a few coins. There's not much here. Maybe the doctor will come to me in a few days. Even so, Mo Ying-baek still refused. But out of respect for being his soulmate, he picked up a few gold bars as a cure. Lee JaHa still raised his voice to request the other person has to get it. Mo Ying-baek still gently and tactfully refused. Truly, he has never seen a male lead criticize money in his life. The devil is truly stubborn, no different from his previous life. Here. Continuing, he immediately pulled out the white inflammation grass as a gift. Absorbing all of that white inflammation grass would require more than 10 days of ventilation to be enough. The doctor refused on the grounds that because there are guests every day and there is no time to eat delicious food. He also solemnly thanked the male lead for his kindness. Isn't this the elixir that the master needs? Please use them here. Now the male protagonist has no reason to repay the favor anymore. Perhaps this is the person who has always given him a feeling of peace since his resurrection until now. Both of them ended the story in a very happy mood. After that, Lee JaHa listened to Mo Ying-baek. Another maid ran in from outside to tell the news. Sir, he's in there trying to regulate his energy. In Mo Ying-baek's mind, he's convinced that Lee JaHa is a typical mental patient. Just looking at your face is enough. This person is smiling crookedly. Why do I keep thinking about diarrhea when I think about him? Meanwhile, the male protagonist listened to the doctor's words to concentrate on cultivating after eating white inflammation grass. While concentrating, voices echoed from outside. Master, you have woken up. So early? So he slowly opened his eyes. Then when he opened the door, Mo Ying-baek had brought medicine to use. He looked very happy and asked Lee JaHa to drink it immediately. Holding the bowl in his hand, he looked a bit confused. Why did you ask me to drink some black medicine like this? The master is required to drink it all. Out of respect for the favor from his previous life, the male protagonist finally agreed. He held his breath carefully and sucked it all up. After that, Mo Ying-baek continued to ask how it felt after using it. I feel a bit more excited than before. Does it feel like my body has just opened the meridians, right? No matter how busy you are, please come by from time to time so I can check your pulse. If we can handle the great Rakshasa, I will return here with a more relaxed mood. Obviously, Lee JaHa wants to change the entire past so that people related to him don't have to suffer. The sun was almost at its peak, and it was time for the three of them to ask the doctor's permission to leave. Before leaving, I also thank Mo Ying-baek for his help. Master, please take care of your health. If you feel uncomfortable anywhere, please come to me. Doctors also have to be careful of people in the gang. If anything happens, just contact me. There's nothing serious going on at the medical house, but still thank you for your good intentions. This stubborn guy is really fighting to prevent that serious thing from happening. After being cured, it seemed like both Red Monkey and Gold Boar felt very refreshed. Can the Green Dog brothers return to their homes? Lee JaHa found this question quite interesting, so he refused. After the fat guy's story, it's my junior sister. Green Dog brother, you will give her the antidote, right? Or not? The male lead didn't hide it anymore, so he started telling the truth. The extremely toxic extension is just a diarrhea medicine. Dr. Moying has already cured your diarrhea, right? Question mark. Only now did Red Monkey start to think again. No wonder I kept doing this. I must have thought that the diarrhea medicine was extremely toxic and then made a mess. Junior sister, please make something my expression. Thinking about it, it's strange why Red Monkey doesn't blame Lee JaHa anymore. Sitting in the car was so boring that I thought of enough things to tell you too. Is it funny for a stranger like me to suddenly call you junior and senior? It's obvious that saying no and then saying yes means you'll lose your life. If you both intend to side with the great Rakshasa and fight against me, then call the carriage to stop immediately. Solve the extreme poison and controlled treating internal injuries is not a big deal. If you want, just get out of the car and go your separate ways. You two are not my slaves nor are you slaves of the great Rakshasa, so even if you do that, it's okay. It's okay. Red Monkey hastily replied that he never intended to get off the bus. If he betrays great Rakshasa, my entire family will probably be killed. Can you tell me the truth? What is Wind's power and to what extent? It's true that traders are different from comparing strategies before they know the way to calculate. Even though he's greedy for food, Gold Boar is truly a person who knows how to take care of his family. If the two of you side with great if the Rakshasa defeats me, will we both be able to live comfortably? Still have to steal and pay tribute, even if it's a woman. Both will have to live as slaves of the great Rakshasa for the rest of their lives. I don't care who is strong better than anyone or weaker than anyone else. Maybe we are weaker, but in the future the two of us will be able to live a normal life. Or we will have to live a miserable and difficult life, that's what's important. I was born and raised in a wealthy family that lacks nothing. My family also has pride, but look at the current situation. Does that money look like it's yours? These meaningful sentences are all directed towards the fat guy. If you are truly rich, it's nothing compared to how to accumulate every penny of money. Not how to use that money is that more important. Gold Boar understood his senior brother's thoughts, so he nodded in agreement. I'm sorry, but can you give me another meal? Bored, so the male lead continued talking about Red Monkey. I'm a bit hungry after eating rice. He's asking if you're on the side of the great Rakshasa, you idiot. After listening, she did not hesitate and replied that she was always on Lee JaHa's side unconditionally. He took me to the latrine, took me to the doctor and even fed me pork bone soup. Even though it's a bit annoying that he gave me poison, but it was just a medicine. Besides, if Master Great Rakshasa gave me poison, it would definitely be real poison. Master would not take me to the latrine but take me to the grasslands. Just thinking about it makes me feel terrible, so I will follow you unconditionally. Now Lee JaHa doesn't believe in himself because he can win women's hearts with elixir. Anyway, it's a good thing, so I plan to invite you both out to eat something delicious. But first I have to return to the main Black Cat Union headquarters to do some other things. Inside the inner hall, all the disciples are waiting. Very dedicated to training under the management of So-gun Pyong. Seeing the master return, everyone had to throw away their weapons to return to the ceremony. Gold Boar returned. He also felt very curious because my senior brother. Sometimes he greets me as the gang leader, sometimes he says hello as senior brother Green Dog, senior brother Horse, so it gives him a headache. That subordinate is also senior brother Horse. And is he also Green Dog's senior brother? The sect master is a subhuman. What is the meaning of this incomprehensible situation of deceit? Looking at that expression, Lee JaHa also reminded Red Monkey to be very careful to avoid being possessed by a ghost. And the best way to prevent that from happening is to hit. It seems that Gold Boar still can't stay awake anymore because so many unexpected things happened just overnight. So even Lee JaHa had to help him wake up. Red Monkey did the same with hundreds of slaps directly on his chubby face. In the end, how many slaps did I receive in total? Of course, after the fight, the two were treated to a table full of delicious dishes by the male lead. Holding a cup of wine in his hand, he began to have so many nonsense thoughts. Just looking at these two, Lee JaHa started to have a few thoughts. Both of them must gradually get stronger. There is nothing more tragic in love than weak love. In the middle of eating, So-gun Pyong was in a hurry. Ran inside to report. He informed that there were some generals waiting outside. Is this so sudden? Or have they discovered us already? The subordinates also don't know, but only the divine generals came alone. The male lead also turned around to ask his juniors if they had any opinions. Maybe the White Rooster divine generals are also coming. The remaining 4 generals probably only came to watch the martial arts competition. After hearing these words, Lee JaHa knew that today he would definitely encounter a strong opponent. A moment later, the male protagonist and his disciples has finished preparing to welcome. A large number of subordinates have also had to follow along to ensure the safety of the gang leader. Perhaps these generals who have just arrived are all very impatient to meet you. No need to look at the face, just looking at the attitude is enough to know that it is like that. All 4 greeted very respectfully. Brother Black Cat has not seen each other for a long time. Only there is one person who hasn't spoken yet, causing Lee JaHa to pay attention. That person is White Rooster. Has Black Cat been doing well lately? I'm still taking it easy here. What about White Rooster? What about you? His appearance looks very confident and his voice is mixed with a bit of danger. Outside, 3 more experts have appeared in a row. Just seeing these divine generals, but the subordinates below all became afraid. This atmosphere doesn't seem right at all. Why did everyone rush back here? Even Lee JaHa himself was surprised when Green Dragon, Red Snake, White Tiger and Yellow Horse also arrived. And an even more surprising thing appeared right before his eyes. A body, the extraordinary and very agile player flew straight into the inner hall from nowhere. Just by looking at it, everyone knew that it was the Great Rakshasa. There is a high possibility that Lee JaHa's impersonation of the Black Cat gang leader is about to happen. Was exposed. Gold Boar and Red Monkey became scared when they saw their master. Immediately all the generals and subordinates under their command respectfully bowed to him. But this person just kept silent and went straight to the place of the Black Cat clan leader. Seeing his archrival, he was also becoming very cautious. Why was this Great Rakshasa present here? Here? Then he started to speak, because I was so bored that I came here. Let's quickly fight a little. After listening, Lee JaHa also had to take the initiative to go down to the field. Perhaps his opponent will you be the 4 divine generals? But that Great Rakshasa spoke up to retreat. You are not his opponent, so quickly get away. After hearing this chicken became worried. Because that cat wasn't that strong before, right? Great Rakshasa continued to raise his voice to redistribute the group. He allowed White Tiger, Green Dragon and Red Snake to deal with the 3 at the same time. His 2 closest brothers Lee JaHa is now extremely worried. Hearing his name being called, the other 3 also jumped down following their master's orders. Today, someone in the 5th position with outstanding martial arts progress will fight 3 of the 4 divine generals at the same time. The form of battle is survival or death, so all other disciples are not allowed to interfere. This cunning old man seems to have discovered something? Then he spoke up but was interrupted by the old man. Our disciple, you're not going to say something embarrassing, are you? Sir, this group is a bit wrong. So if that's the case, then we'll take 1 less person or else we'll add White Rooster too. Some people have said don't talk back. Master, please follow his will. But then the male protagonist could no longer stand the attitude of that Great Rakshasa. He started to smile big and looked very disgusting. This has made the other generals appear suspicious. If it is a life and death duel, it is not for the disciples to take action, the master should take action directly. You should go up, go ahead, you old bastard. The 2 below were shocked because they didn't think their senior brother was so crazy that he couldn't be cured. My disciple is not someone who can say that. Take off your mask. Go away. I'm not your slave. Why should I show it to someone like you who is meeting for the first time, you pervert? As expected, not only is Lee JaHa's martial arts skills good, but Lee JaHa's foul mouth is also useless. Full of damage. The Great Rakshasa did not bother to respond at all. He gave a cold smile and then softly asked all 4 divine generals to rush forward. In the end, you could only step back and watch the disciples fight. Surely you've always lived such a cowardly life. If we all come together, I'll run away from this place. If my light martial arts are better than my martial arts, I'll try it out. Let's play with your net of heaven and earth. If you fight with me directly, you and I will fight 1-on-1 like 2 real men. Let's say the rumors about you are true. I don't know how to avoid a hand-to-hand fight with me that would spread throughout the world. The male lead started using his invitations to go to the location of Great Rakshasa's subordinates. "Everyone, please listen carefully. Your stupid master forced you to rush forward for what reason? Isn't it because to understand me better and use you as a good thing to make you fall to your death? After seeing off when my disciples go to hell, that wretched old man will enjoy how much glory and wealth. Hey cow standing there, just looking at you, I can see that you are still very young. If you are killed, master, wouldn't it be sad to be perverted? Your mask will be kept and then given to someone else. It's not like it's just 1 or 2 people who have been replaced in such a way, but you still listen. What's the point?" Great the Rakshasa had to respond. "A crazy person impersonating my disciple seems like a pretty crazy person. I agree with that because the mask makes the hysteria worse, so you guys, everyone else, please pay attention. The people below are about to get some sleep because Lee JaHa talks too much." Then, because he couldn't talk back to the male lead, Great Rakshasa accepted the challenge. "Fight. That old man was dealing with me while sending a signal to his disciples with his eyes. I already know your actions, perverted old man. If that's the case, then I will act to avoid being loved like that." Thinking about it, the male protagonist took the sword and rushed straight to the chicken's place. He quickly pulled out the sword from the scabbard and slashed hard towards him. And then, to take advantage of this opportunity, he continued to sneak away to another place. White Rooster is now having to show his weapon to resist that sword energy. Lee JaHa's animation has changed. Immediately flew into the air. A huge explosion took place. Perhaps this was his way to blindly escape. Even though the plan was as smooth as that, there were still some other divine generals. Recognized and chased after immediately. Not only a few people, but then all of Great Rakshasa's people quickly followed. As expected, Lee JaHa alone could not escape all the divine generals. Then he started playing the psychological card. "Brothers and sisters, you don't need to worry because I will kill your master. So you don't need to chase me. Just believe in me and you will be free forever." Hearing this sentence, some people's will was shaken. Great Rakshasa started shouting loudly, "Why are you just standing there? Go out there to look like that, right? Hey, that damn perverted old man, you're tearing our brotherhood apart." After saying that, Lee JaHa suddenly disappeared without anyone understanding. Let's all fall apart again. Around the streets to hunt down. I wonder what corner the male protagonist is hiding in at this time. People saw the divine generals appear and became extremely scared. At the same time at some pub. There was a big match just now. Why did the 12 generals gather in such large numbers? As soon as he finished speaking, a general came into the restaurant where he was sitting. He strangled the young man and raised his voice. "Did you see anyone frantically running away from here, or is there anyone who could? It's okay to suspect." But he couldn't say a word because he was strangled to the point he couldn't breathe. If he couldn't get any information, he went back to where Lee JaHa was sitting comfortably sipping wine. Before he could ask any questions, he was immediately attacked without having time to defend himself. The great magic of star absorption had spread out and pulled this guy back. In front of me, he still dared to strangle him. This god general's throat is becoming deformed because the force in his arm is too tight. His remaining left hand is free and he doesn't know what to do, so the male protagonist immediately swings it hard. After that, it was stabbed tightly into his cheek, causing blood to spurt out of his nose. The whole tall body was knocked out of the pub. Seeing the fear of the young man, Lee JaHa also jumped up. Voice of comfort. Don't be so surprised that the so-called things in gypsies are inherently like this. Although he was very scared, he also had to breathe a sigh of relief because the danger was saved. Instead, he temporarily grabbed a bottle of wine to wash off the other guy's dirty blood. After finishing, he continued to pour the wine and sat down to drink it alone. Don't panic like that. Come here quickly to receive your cup. So the whole person had to shake their legs and walk unsteadily with both hands holding the cup to receive. This job is really worthless. What's that, so you just drink it all up? Both of you got stuck at once and then you got 100% black. Did you already have something in your face that spewed out so quickly? Already inside? Take a rest and pay for the wine. My subordinates will figure it out later. I'll sit here alone and finish drinking, so hurry up and rest. After hearing this, the second servant understood and ran straight into the house and closed the door. A moment later, several other generals saw the bodies of their comrades. Yellow Horse guessed that he had been attacked, so the perpetrator was definitely still around here somewhere. Why didn't you pay attention to the person sitting in the back chewing his food? The sound was too harsh, so one guy turned around with an angry attitude. What the hell are you looking at, you bastard? Holding the chopstick in the male lead's hand, it shot straight towards him. I was looking at that bastard and didn't know it. In just a blink of an eye, it went straight through this guy's forehead. The remaining teammates had only just realized what was happening, so they were scared. He could only stand and watch the body collapse right next to the person before. Lee JaHa happily poured another drink. After drinking the cup, he conveniently shot one more shot. So 4 of the 12 divine generals had died. The male lead slammed his wine cup down as if to affirm that if anyone entered the realm of fame, of the pub, it will be the same. Looking at these bad names, I also have some guesses. It must be the lowest rank among the 12 generals, that is why his strength is so poor. At this time, another unfortunate guy also discovered the situation. White Rat, come quickly and have a few glasses of wine with me. Having recognized the target, he immediately jumped in. His arm was stretched out to the leader to kill Lee JaHa. Although his speed was fast, it was not as fast as the male lead. He used his strength and created a shield, causing him to be counterattacked. He vomited blood from his mouth. Not only that, but divine power flew out from somewhere and pulled him back. White Rat still couldn't realize what was going on. And before he could, when I realized it, my body collapsed again. This guy seemed a little better because he died right at Lee JaHa's feet. If there is an afterlife, don't meet people like me again. Maybe drinking with me is too boring now. So I picked up the opponent's mask and started playing the villain. An hour later, the other generals arrived. Gathered together in one place to check the corpses. Surely even if everyone is killed one by one at this rate, they will probably all die. What should we do? The 4 divine generals should unite. If the 4 of us go up together, that guy won't be able to do anything. I didn't expect our junior brothers to die so hopelessly like this. A divine general is calculating that if it's too dangerous, he should return to his master's side. When he returns, that day will definitely be very unpleasant, having lost his disciples, and even that guy can't solve it. If you decide, it's dangerous. The male lead is also among them and urges everyone to decide quickly. Let's continue to follow him again, and the 4 of us go together like Green Dragon's words. White Rat brother, please inform the master about the death of these disciples and say that our 4 divine generals will hunt that guy down. But this matter is also recalculated by everyone. Because Lee JaHa's target is the Great Rakshasa. White Rooster is becoming very impatient because he can't stand the sight of watching everyone slowly die. It has to be like that. I was thinking just now he constantly talks nonsense, but inherently the nonsense of people with abnormal minds is often true. Some people have the same opinion but still cannot understand why the male lead did that. It's simple, because he is an incurable madman. After hearing that, Lee JaHa started cursing, so he was so upset that he just wanted to take off his mask and squeeze him. Also try your best, big brother. Well, the math makes relatively reasonable predictions. From the beginning, that guy asked for a one-on-one fight with the master. As long as we don't chase him, he won't have to fight with us. I only appear at master's place alone. This guy makes me more and more interesting. If master has to fight him and then bring White Rat and the 4 divine generals together, it's enough for us to start over. How long will we have to listen to that guy's words about these enslaving things? To be honest, now I just hope that the harsh treatment of monks and nuns will stop. Let's go again. Now Lee JaHa heard the words he liked the most. So why don't we just kill Master Guo and everything will be resolved simply? Hearing this sentence, the whole group realized that White Rat had been impersonated. The male protagonist had to rethink why he acted so openly. This is proof of the saying that the mouth is harmful to the body. At first, he proactively stepped back to prepare to find a way to escape. But the leader of the group of 12 divine generals intentionally took the lead. Right away,